So today we'll be taking a look at Alexa Bliss's original mask, Bray Wyatt's response to a WWE return, update to a Charlotte Flair situation, and much more. Let's start things off with another Charlotte Flair update. So by now, everyone has heard of the backstage conflict that happened between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch over the weirdness of that title exchange segment. Becky didn't like Charlotte's actions, found it to be disrespectful and uncalled for. Charlotte stood by her actions, and it just led to chaos behind the scenes that ended with Charlotte being thrown out of the building. It was a story that lasted the whole week, and even Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce were joking about the segment on Twitter during the week as well. Reports claim that Sonya was involved in the entire situation and happened to just be as mad as Becky Lynch. So that's what happened most recently, but it wasn't the only situation that Charlotte has been in lately. So back a few weeks before Extreme Rules and Raw had a match of Charlotte vs. Nia Jax. This match went viral, not because of it being a special match, it went viral because of an actual fight that nearly broke out between Charlotte and Nia Jax during that match. After some miscommunication issues and things not going on as originally planned, both women became so heated with each other that some real slaps and cheap shots were being thrown into the match. Everyone picked up on what was happening almost instantly, and it became a big story that week. Similar to how Becky Lynch's story was the big story this week. Everyone was talking about this real fight that broke out in the middle of this match between Nia and Charlotte. That was several weeks ago, but new reports are starting to come out about that situation. The report claims that the backstage situation after that incident was very similar to what happened with Becky Lynch. After that real fight incident, the locker room was on Nia's side due to how she didn't fold. She stood up and held her own against Charlotte. Even though some reports claim that Nia was possibly at fault and was the one to do the wrong action that ticked off Charlotte Flair, it's still said that everyone loved the fact that Nia didn't allow herself to get bullied around and fall in line for Charlotte. But this situation was definitely different. Everything pretty much ended in the ring and didn't carry backstage, like what happened at this week's SmackDown. The good news is that Charlotte and Becky, if there's anything really there, they don't have to see each other that much because they're on completely different brands now. So it's not like they're going to see each other every week backstage at SmackDown and have that awkwardness there. So at least they're split up in that sense. But like we mentioned when this first happened last week, you still have to wonder about Survivor Series. Survivor Series will be Raw Women's Champion versus SmackDown Women's Champion. So if Becky and Charlotte don't lose their titles within the next few weeks, they'll be forced to work with each other at that show, which may turn out to be a money matchup for WWE, because you can use that backstage tension as an added narrative to make people look forward to this match and wonder what will happen between Charlotte and Becky. Charlotte and Becky's conversation on SmackDown was left sorta on a cliffhanger. Charlotte challenged Becky to a champion vs. champion match, but Becky never had an opportunity to answer due to Sasha's interruption. So maybe they pick that story back up for Survivor Series if Becky and Charlotte can both hold on to their championships. Bray Wyatt has changed all his brandings and usernames to Windham now that he's officially free from WWE in all ways. Windham is actually his first name, and it's been reported for a few months now that Windham will be his new wrestling name as well. So wherever he ends up at, he will most likely be referred to as Windham. A fan recently tweeted to Bray and asked him to return to WWE to face Roman Reigns for the title at Survivor Series. Bray actually replied to that tweet with a gif that said, "Is there no one else?" Obviously, Bray won't be returning to WWE, but the fan does bring up a great dream match that we never got to see because it was reported that WWE didn't believe in that matchup. Roman Reigns was the #1 contender for the Universal title heading into WrestleMania 36. Technically, we could have seen Roman vs. The Fiend at WrestleMania 36, But it was reported that WWE didn't view that as a WrestleMania-worthy match, so they gave the Universal title to Goldberg and saw Roman vs. Goldberg as a real WrestleMania match. WWE logic right there. Then, fast forward a few months later, and Roman Reigns returns at SummerSlam to take out The Fiend and Braun Strowman after their main event match. Roman called The Fiend a freak in a mask, and less than a week later, Roman took The Fiend's title by pinning Strowman. Of course, The Fiend had a claim to the title since he was never pinned, and Roman cheated to win the title. We saw the beginning of Bray vs. Roman with little things such as the Paul Heyman puppet coming to the Funhouse and Alexa staring down Roman, but the feud was quickly scrapped. Why was it scrapped? No one really knows for sure, but maybe it was due to the fact that Bray Wyatt was just going to lose the feud anyways, so they probably thought it was better to keep him away from Roman. So The Fiend vs. Roman would have been such a great story to see unfold, and it's very unfortunate that WWE avoided this matchup every time that it was a possibility. Speaking of Bray Wyatt, let's get into some interesting topics with his former right hand, Alexa Bliss. The topic of Alexa Bliss wearing a mask was a hot topic back in summer of 2020, and even still remains as a hot topic of discussion in current day. From the second Alexa joined Bray Wyatt, everyone thought that it wouldn't be long before Alexa's wearing a Fiend mask of her own. It's been something that the community has talked about a countless amount of times over the last year and a half. Well now, for the first time ever, there's solid confirmation and proof that WWE was legitimately considering a mask for Alexa Bliss. Artist Kyle A. Scarborough has closely worked with WWE, AEW, NJPW, and much more promotions over the years for a handful of collaborations and projects. Kyle recently revealed this week that he was contacted by WWE in 2020 to start coming up with some concept art and designs for a mask for Alexa Bliss. Kyle revealed 2 designs that he sent to WWE. First one being a slightly cracked mannequin-looking mask that had the word "his" written on the forehead of Alexa's mask, referring to the idea that this masked version of Alexa clearly belonged to The Fiend and was considered his property, his creation. The second design he had seemed to be a makeup mask. It featured several lines all over Alexa's face to create this scary-looking makeup. Alexa would end up never wearing a real mask, but she has worn several makeup looks dating back to early 2021. So it's interesting to look back at one of the most intriguing pairings in WWE history and see all this potential of what could have been. WWE really had such a great story going with Alexa and Bray's pairing, and they absolutely just let everything slip through their fingers and did nothing with them. But at least this is confirmation that WWE was at one point considering a mask for Alexa, but ended up scrapping the idea. Will Alexa's mask wearing still be in the future? It's still a possibility, but we'll have to see how things turn out there for that story. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.